Our story begins many years ago, inside a secret research facility hidden away on a lonely island. Here, a group of scientists were running highly dangerous experiments, merging different dinosaur species to create massive new hybrids, powerful, unpredictable, and lethal. But one small mistake changed everything. A worker accidentally dropped a candy wrapper, and it landed right on a control panel. That tiny piece of trash caused a system error, triggering alarms throughout the lab. Security doors started malfunctioning. One by one, and within seconds, panic consumed the entire facility. As chaos erupted, the monstrous hybrids broke free. In the middle of the madness, a worker got trapped inside a containment cage. He screamed for help, but it was too late. One of the creatures reached him first. Cut to the present day. In the heart of a bustling city, a massive dinosaur suddenly collapses on the road. Authorities rush to control the scene, struggling to move the enormous creature. Among the onlookers is Martin, a wealthy investor, accompanied by Zora, a sharp and fearless woman. Martin explains that he's funding a secret project, one that involves extracting DNA from certain dinosaur species. The goal? To develop a groundbreaking cure for multiple deadly diseases. Curious, Zora asks which species he's after. Martin lists 3 of the largest known dinosaurs, including the Mosasaurus. Zora laughs, pointing out that these creatures live on a heavily restricted island off the coast of Ecuador, an area strictly off-limits. That's when Martin drops the real bombshell. The mission has to be done in secret, with a small, trusted team, and he wants Zora to be part of it. She immediately refuses, calling it suicidal. But when Martin offers her $10 million, she hesitates. The risk suddenly feels worth considering. Soon after, the two visit a museum to meet Dr. Henry, a world-renowned expert in prehistoric life. Martin and Zora explain the plan. They need living dinosaurs, not fossils or bones. Only fresh, warm blood will work for their research. Dr. Henry is hesitant at first, warning that such an expedition would be extremely dangerous. Zora whispers to Martin to just bribe him, but Martin knows money won't work here. Instead, he challenges the doctor's pride. He reminds Henry that, despite all his fame, he's only ever studied dead creatures. If he truly wants to be remembered as an expert, he needs to see these animals alive. Otherwise, he's just another theorist. The words hit hard. After a long pause, Henry agrees to join the mission. Next, Zora introduces Duncan, an old friend, an experienced boat captain, who'll take them to the island. But Duncan isn't thrilled. He calls the idea insane. Sailing into an island, crawling with prehistoric predators, not to mention breaking international law. He's especially worried about his boat. It's his life savings. Martin feels the pressure and sweetens the deal. He doubles Zora's offer and tells her to share a good portion with Duncan. Tempted by the money, Duncan reluctantly agrees. Finally, we meet Bobby, a tough ex-military man hired to protect the team from whatever they might encounter. As their ship cuts through the waves toward the island, Dr. Henry reveals a set of custom-made tranquilizer darts. Each one is designed to collect blood from a distance of exactly 10 meters. Once fired, the dart fills with blood, ejects itself, and floats gently back down with a tiny parachute, harmless to the dinosaur, but invaluable to their mission. Meanwhile, not far away, a family enjoys a sunny cruise on their private boat. The father, Ruben, is steering while his daughters, Isabella and Teresa, relax. Teresa's boyfriend, Xavier, is napping below deck. Tired of steering, Ruben asks Teresa to wake Xavier so he can take over. But when she does, Xavier groggily asks for just one more hour. Ruben rolls his eyes and lets him sleep, unaware of what's about to unfold next. Suddenly, the peaceful sea turns restless. The family spots something enormous gliding just beneath the surface. Moments later, the water erupts. It's the Mosasaurus, an ancient marine predator of terrifying size. But surprisingly, it doesn't attack to feed. Instead, the creature slams its massive body into their boat, causing it to crack and take on water fast. It's not hunting. It's protecting its territory. And unfortunately, this unlucky family has drifted right into it. As the vessel begins to sink, Reuben grabs the radio and frantically calls for help. Somewhere nearby, Duncan, captain of the expedition ship, picks up the distress signal. Without hesitation, he tells his team they're close enough to rescue whoever's in trouble. But Martin, the investor funding their mission, refuses. He coldly insists they can't afford distractions. They must reach the island as planned. Duncan isn't having it. "It's my boat," he snaps, "and I decide where it goes." Ignoring Martin's orders, Duncan steers toward the distress call. They arrive just in time, hauling Reuben and his terrified family out of the wreckage. The survivors tremble as they describe the monster that struck their boat, a giant sea creature unlike anything they'd ever seen. The description confirms what the team suspected. The Mosasaurus is nearby. Moments later, the ocean roars again as the beast resurfaces and slams into their ship. Still, it doesn't try to eat them. It's simply warning them to stay away. Zora seizes the opportunity. She orders the crew to maneuver closer so she can get a clear shot. With steady hands, she fires one of Dr. Henry's custom darts straight into the creature. The dart fills with blood, ejects, and drifts safely back down by parachute, their first successful sample. But the victory doesn't last. The water begins to churn violently as more aquatic dinosaurs emerge, surrounding the boat. The team scrambles, weapons drawn, as chaos breaks loose. Bobby, their security man, jumps into action. But he's the first to fall. The creatures tear him apart in a horrifying instant. The family watches in horror. What they thought was a rescue turns into a nightmare. In desperation, Teresa rushes to the ship's radio, trying to send an SOS. But doing so would expose the entire secret mission, something Martin cannot allow. He storms toward her, yelling to stop. They struggle, and Teresa slips near the ship's edge. Martin freezes, then lets her fall. She plunges into the sea, screaming. Without hesitation, Xavier dives after her and manages to pull her to safety. By now, the ship is badly damaged. Its navigation system fails, and the vessel begins to drift uncontrollably toward the rocks. With no other choice, everyone abandons ship before it crashes and sinks. The survivors wash ashore at the edge of the island, exhausted and shaken. They gather what little supplies they can salvage, believing for a moment that they're safe. But out of the jungle crawls another horror, a massive amphibious dinosaur that can move on land. It lunges forward, devouring one of Duncan's assistants in seconds. Panic spreads through the group. Still, Zora forces herself to stay calm. She reminds everyone that she left a backup team, trusted allies who've been told to come looking for them if she doesn't return within 24 hours. Martin adds that there's an old research facility hidden deep within the island. If they can reach it, they might be able to power up the equipment and call for help. But until then, their mission continues. They still need to collect the remaining DNA samples. The expedition party pushes into the dense jungle, their nerves on edge with every sound. Meanwhile, on the opposite side of the island, the rescued family, now separated from the main group, tries to find their own way to safety. As night falls, young Isabella wanders near the trees and discovers a small dinosaur watching her. Unlike the others, it's gentle and curious, almost childlike. Its features are strange, a blend of species, possibly one of the lab's hybrid creations. Later that night, Reuben has a quiet conversation with Xavier. He thanks him sincerely for risking his life to save Teresa. With emotion in his voice, Reuben admits he misjudged him. "I thought you weren't right for her," he confesses. "But I see now I was wrong. There's no greater proof of love than risking your life for someone else." After their talk, Xavier steps away from the camp to get some privacy. That's when the jungle goes silent. A shadow moves behind him, a velociraptor, its eyes glinting in the dark, ready to strike. Just as the raptor is about to strike, a massive shadow passes overhead. In the blink of an eye, a giant winged creature swoops down and snatches the raptor away, disappearing into the night sky. Xavier watches in shock, frozen in place. He realizes that if the beast had noticed him, he wouldn't have lived another second. The next morning, the expedition team finally reaches the island's largest dinosaurs. Thankfully, these towering giants are herbivores, but Dr. Henry reminds everyone that their predators definitely aren't. If they want the blood sample, they'll need to move fast and stay quiet. They spot a pair of dinosaurs standing close together, likely mates. It's the perfect opportunity. They line up the shot, fire the dart, and successfully collect the sample. Meanwhile, the stranded family continues to push through the dense jungle, desperate to find a way off the island. Distracted for a moment, they stumble into a hidden ravine. Down below, Teresa notices something glinting in the distance. A small boat. Hope surges through her. Maybe this could be their escape. But as she runs toward it, she freezes. A mutilated dinosaur lies nearby, its limbs torn apart. Heart pounding, Teresa keeps moving, determined to reach the boat. Then she sees something even worse. A sleeping T-Rex resting only a few yards away. She crouches low and carefully begins dragging the boat, every movement deliberate and silent. Just as she nears the edge, a faint scrape wakes the T-Rex. It lifts its head, sniffing the air. Miraculously, it doesn't spot her. It just lumbers toward the water to drink. Teresa wastes no time. The family piles into the boat and pushes off. But the T-Rex notices the motion and lets out a thunderous roar, charging after them. They dive into the water, hiding among the rocks and shadows. The giant predator moves strangely slow, giving them just enough time to slip away and wedge themselves between large boulders. Safe, for now. Back in the jungle, the expedition team has only one final sample left to collect, from a legendary flying dinosaur. This mission, however, will be their most dangerous yet. To avoid direct confrontation, they decide to extract DNA from its eggs instead. They climb to a high mountain nest where several eggs rest under the open sky. Carefully, they extract a small amount of fluid, securing the final sample. But before they can leave, the mother returns, and she's furious. She attacks without hesitation. Zora and Dr. Henry narrowly dodge her claws, while another crew member distracts the beast with noise, sacrificing himself to save the others. The dinosaur grabs him and swallows him whole. It's a horrific but heroic end. At last, the mission is complete. The team secures all 3 DNA samples in a locked case and begins their trek toward the abandoned laboratory, hoping to use its systems to contact rescue. Coincidentally, the family is also making their way there, and by chance, both groups reunite inside the lab. But the reunion quickly turns tense. Teresa confronts Martin, accusing him of trying to kill her. Martin doesn't deny it. Instead, he locks the DNA case to his wrist and pulls a gun, insisting everyone calm down. He claims they'll all leave together. The helicopter will arrive soon. They'll take the samples to safety and everyone will survive. But fate has other plans. The lab's bright lights attract nearby dinosaurs and soon the building is swarmed. The creatures crash through the walls, tearing everything apart. The explorers scatter for cover. Meanwhile, Martin grabs the case and jumps into a car. He drives off, firing flares into the sky, hoping the helicopter will spot him. For a moment, it works. The pilot sees the signal and turns back. But before it can land, a monstrous mutant dinosaur bursts from the trees. Towering and grotesque, it grabs the helicopter midair and devours it whole. Out of nowhere, Martin appears in the car again, still clutching the DNA case. He speeds toward the creature, firing another flare to get its attention. The monster turns, roaring furiously, and in a single bite, devours Martin. But his sacrifice gives the others enough time to escape. Duncan grabs a flare and tells everyone to run while he leads the monster away. Like a true hero, he drives off into the chaos, drawing the creature after him. Zora stands frozen, tears in her eyes, refusing to leave without knowing if her friend made it. Then, far in the distance, a flare shoots into the night sky. Duncan's alive. Moments later, Zora and the others spot him near the shore. They pull him aboard a small rescue boat and sail away from the cursed island. With the DNA samples safe, they face one final decision: what to do with them. Dr. Henry and Zora agree. The DNA won't be sold to the highest bidder. It will be given to the world freely, a cure for humanity, not a prize for the wealthy. As the sun rises behind them, the survivors drift toward freedom, leaving the island and its monsters behind.